Hey, remember how we resolved that lawsuit off screen? What a concept, huh? Who would do that? Why would you resolve one of your main plot points entirely off screen? I get the idea of like you're writing something because let's remember, fan fictions are often written in medias res, and as a result, it's fairly likely you'll introduce an idea that you don't actually like or know what to do with. You have to get rid of it. Personally, I think that's sloppy, but it's how fan fictions tend to work, tend to be very driven by engagement and temporality and all that fun stuff. But I do feel like you could do a little more with it. I hope Oliver comes back to some extent because I feel like they're not the kind of people to just drop this. You know, they got rid of it because the writer didn't know what to do with it. Maybe they got some comments on it. Who knows? Let's get to it. Let's not beat around the bush. Not a lot to do. There we go. Let's go. The last days of summer. It's 2 in the morning. I I sometimes wonder if, like in Spanish, 2 in the morning is just like 2 p.m. Because I can't imagine that Inco, after everything that's happened, is like, I'm gonna be up at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night. Because that's no one says 2 in the morning for that, right? The last days of summer are about to get into our hands. Also, it's worth pointing out that I'm pretty sure we're like, it was mentioned that there was something that happened during the summer where like Inco wanted to give a ring. Yeah. So basically, after all the establishment being done to, also, again, look at how many of these fucking sentences starts with I. Don't do that. It makes your POV look sloppy. And that's the only one I'm going to give. I'll probably do another one when it becomes, like, abundant. But, I guess we're just doing this. Remember, we already had, like, several characters ruminating on this idea. We don't need the actual scene at this point. Seeing a naked body. Oh, they are just in the middle of the night, and you can't just think about your bros in the middle of the night, man. You're gonna be up all night thinking about that shit. Let me pick this up. Why is this in quotes? You know, of all the things I've seen done wrong in a while, I don't ever think I've seen descriptive text smashed between quotation marks, implying that Inko is narrating his own life, which is kind of hilarious. Like some useless condom and a napkin. Why was it useless? Is she sterile? I will say that after everything that's happened, having the character suddenly talk about sex like this feels really weird. Because remember, much of the relationship between these two has been kind of implied to be terrible for both of them, and kind of miserable. And they thought that marrying would somehow help. I don't know why. I still have no clue how it would help. But you can't just do that and then have like, oh, well, actually, they had a really good sex life, though. What was the rating for this again? This was mature. So I guess we can get some tasteful sex. Look at this. I remember, and then she, again, I'm kind of going to count all pronouns in the same way. It implies you have nothing better to do. Look at this. We have I, and then and I. It's technically the same thing. It was chaos. I mean, technically that's one sentence, but that can be a little pedantic boy. And then another it. I would like to point out that you can replace this with she had a hungry look. I still don't like Estrus season. I still don't like the conceptual idea of Estrus season existing. It's a cute one-off statement, but the way it's talked about strongly implies that it's just the women, which is kind of weird. It's just dinosaurs. It's just the dinosaur women, which is super fucking weird. So there's like a quarter of your population that's just really weird some days of the year. Surely estrus blockers are like a thing, right? Like those things are driven by hormones, so theoretically you could supplement them with synthetics. And it would be considered like super weird not to take them. I'm just saying, man. Like, again, I'm pretty sure that in the original it was just meant to be like a dumb one-off joke, like a little ha giggle. And then in Wani it mostly got elaborated upon entirely because of, was it around back then? I often associate Estrus season with Wani, but I don't know if it ever mentioned in Snoot.
Either way, it was never really meant more than just a gag. A really weird gag when you think about it, because the gag, technically speaking, is that Iadakan has a taser in his desk. Which, honestly, he could just have because he, he's a teacher with physical maladies. The man needs a little help bringing down a big student. It's already implied that dinosaurs are especially strong and tough, so, you could work with it. We had so many moments to take things easy. Oh, you were studying at the time? I would like to point out that there's not a single summer that Inko and Olivia could have where they're still in high school, so this implies that they were studying after the fact. I began to like jazz. Ugh. Oh, I see. Yeah, the whole B-flat thing. So she has Estrus and the B-flat thing. Also, I would like to point out that a mating call is... people don't get this, but, like, a mating call is kind of on par with, like, shaking your butt in front of a guy, right? It's like shaking your tushy in front of a dude. That's kind of what the B-flat thing really is. And, like, I get it, but it's really weird that, again, female sexuality is treated kind of awkwardly in this. Which is weird, because Anon's sexuality is often treated as a joke. But that's what we call systemic sexism. You're not supposed to notice it because you grew up in it and it's part of a system that you're, again, not supposed to question too much. That's why you need the humanities, you dumb dipshit. Otherwise you end up creating systems like mutants and masterminds, which are like shut up their own ass, and they don't recognize that comics are fundamentally about the human emotions of the characters instead of their power levels. And they're like, no power levels. And then you get the OSR. Again, people who are like, I want to tell stories. It's like, no, you don't want to tell stories. You don't want to play the same game over and over again. You want to make rules for it. You want to pretend that you're playing a deep, emotional game, but the game does actually nothing to support that playstyle. And it's all just supplemented on top. I'm just going to waggle my finger at those people. That's what you get when you admit the humanities. You don't look at yourself and your environment and what you're doing, and you just start shitting out the same farts. They were the good times. Was the one that calmed it down. Listen, I like, a big problem I have with the concept of Estrus season is that it fundamentally reshapes your society in a way that people don't want to talk about. If women end up like once a year and they go into this fucking butt fucking crazy mad desire to have sex, don't you think that would change how people look at women? Like, shouldn't dinosaurs have like some preconceptions on women, be they human or otherwise? Do men go crazy during Estrus season is also like a thing that never really gets talked about, primarily because our protagonist is human both times. I feel like Estrus season should do something. And again, Snoot game is supposed to be a shitpost. It doesn't really care about what it's talking about. The dinosaur part is entirely secondary to the conversation. And even in Wani, it feels very much... I mean, I guess you could say the tail thing and everything. They kind of try to do a little more with it. But ultimately, it doesn't really want to implement it into the greater lore in any way past that. Like, everyone talks about how dinosaurs are great, but no one talks about, can dinosaurs even survive in a temperate climate without freezing over every winter? Sounds to me like a human could probably, like, bundle up tight and make it, but the dinosaur would just fucking die. Like, fuck. In Florida, the dinosaurs get frozen in the ice whenever that happens. I don't even know how sustainable that is long-term. Also, there's something to be said for a civilization where, like, let's put this down right. Imagine you live in a neighborhood and it's like, for like a season a year, this motherfucker is not going to come out of his house. He's going to be stuck inside and he's just going to be freezing his little ass off. He will not be doing the cobbling. He will not be hunting with you. You're just down a man, but he still has to eat food. Do you think anyone north of the Mediterranean is going to be like, Dad, that's fine. I'm okay with that. If you just had sex. It's 2 a.m., man. As far as I'm concerned, you're gonna wake up feeling like shit regardless on how long you sleep in. Use the tone to pull myself closer to her. She's not a fucking rope! Stop treating your wife like that! We kissed again, I calmed down close. I'm out of my mating season. I swear nothing should happen. So not only that, now we have Estrus season in the context of it's the only fertile time of the year. Fair enough. Nobody ever talked about that because, again, it's weird when you talk about that shit with teenagers. I. Again, I wonder if this is because in Spanish you start you can start sentences with verbs because verbs contain a lot more information on who's talking. Cheat this powder, looking at this one. You know, I love you, skinny. Ugh. Look at this. She, her. Oh my god, what the fuck happened here? I think I'm going to die. I don't get this. I don't get why we had to have the scene where we're like they had really good sex, because isn't the whole story that their relationship is kind of fucking shit? Or are we still in the honeymoon period? Which is weird, because their honeymoon period is kind of like the first half of Wani. They should long be past the honeymoon period and like contending with real life. Especially since they just rolled out of high school and I imagine things aren't going too great. So this is like the summer after... Yeah. Normally I'd let him win. Oh my god. Yeah, I think ending 2 Inko would be the kind of person who's like, yeah, you kicked me in the balls! I appreciate that immediately after a sexy scene, we talk about men getting kicked in the balls. That's great for your male audience. We all know why. Then he was getting better catching me off guard, though. You're teaching him how to sneak. It's like putting a bell on a cat. You're just making him stronger. Like, the reason that doesn't work is because cats don't have to feed themselves, so they can just come home and get food. So they can practice without necessarily, you know... Because in the wild, I imagine a cat like that would probably just die at some point because it couldn't get food for a while because it has to adapt. And that adaptive period puts it on the hind foot. And that's where evolution kicks in. But because your cat can just come home and take a little bite, it's good to go. Man, I love how the scene is just like characters existing. I get it, you want to have some character moments, but like the whole fucking story is about how these characters are having shit moments. I don't get it. Ah, you bastard. Brother, I need some refreshing chaos. I think we're just going to skim this chapter because I can't... The problem I have with this, right, is if you're going to do a flashback for something like this, you really need to establish, like, things were fine, things were great, and I don't care about their fucking sex. I care about the actual chemistry, and I've noticed so many fucking people who write for Wani or Snoot do not know what chemistry is. They do not know how characters can interact with each other, because in Wani and Snoot, both relationships are actually kind of fucking hot garbage, right? Like... Fang disparages Anon, Anon disparages Fang. They're both kind of at each other's throat. In case you're wondering, Anon is like negative about the non-binary stuff. He's negative about the band stuff. Fang kind of derides Anon's gaming habits and that he's a loner loser. So, you know, there's never really a moment where the two characters like agree or have like a shared habit or anything. And it's so kind of miserable. It's funny at times, but as an actual relationship, terrible. The same goes for Inko. Inko's photography gets disparaged by Olivia, and her hobby of painting consumes what he is as a person, and replaces it. Meanwhile, Olivia's kind of hot garbage, and needs to get out of her fucking ass. And it's like, you know, it shouldn't be your boyfriend who tells you this, man. You should get help, maybe. And also doesn't feel like Inko's really the one to do that. And Inko kind of sucks as a person anyway. It's like he's not even that handsome. He's kind of fat. It's kind of pudgy he's on the pudgy side of things, where it always looks kind of round. Maybe it's the jacket, I don't know. Maybe he just arcs his spine. Like, he doesn't look like a handsome guy, considering how, like, Damien looks and stuff. I don't know. Maybe Olivia just likes the fat guys, but we never get that impression. Like, they never talk about that. I feel like if you want to do chemistry, you need to have characters talk in idiosyncratic ways. You have to develop a language. You have to have it be, like, Olivia commenting on, like, you know, you always were such a chubster in high school, but don't worry, it's why I like you. You know, that kind of stuff. That kind of playful teasing, where you air out your heart and you're a little bit ironic about it so that you don't have to, you know. We never get that. We never fucking get that, because no one here knows what a relationship is. Should I? Eh. But I'm willing to think about it. Water dripping from his hair. I always thought that Damien's scales would be hydrophobic, so he like just washes off instantly. Actually, human skin is also quite hydrophobic. I mean, it doesn't stick to you like a magnet, does it? By the way, quick tip: you can slap water off of yourself. Like, don't just go for the towel. You just make your towel super wet, so it doesn't work. You want to kind of stand there and drip. if you're in the shower or whatever, and kind of slap yourself to wipe off the worst of it. Because there's droplets that have zero cleaning power. So you're getting married, when's the big day? Oh yeah, he's like, this is the proposal day, in case you forgot. And Inko's like, oh man, I'm gonna propose! Oh yeah, they're getting married. Wait a minute, isn't this like months ago? I thought the implication was that, I guess he postponed it or whatever. I'm a mess. I feel like actual Damien would never say that he's a mess. I feel like Damien would say he's a little forgetful. You know, he's kind of playful about it. I don't think he would ever just straight up say, I'm a mess. What's more telling about this is, surely no dinosaur wants to marry in the freezing cold, right? Unless you like the cozy vibes of being inside near a fireplace. You're a real disaster, man. I respect that. I don't think this is a conversation that Inko and Damien would ever have. Because Inko is a soft pudding boy, and we're not that far out from the game, I guess. Although I guess it is part of the logical through line if you want to go there. I still feel like there's a limit to how far Inko is willing to go that direction, though. It will work. I still don't get why people think marrying helps. Marrying elevates your relationship. It puts additional stresses on your... It adds legal barriers and requirements. Like, marriage only worsens things. Marriage is a test of your relationship, not improvement. People always talk about it like that, and it's like, no. You should never marry unless you're ready for it. And if you feel like you're never ready for it, then fuck it. But don't marry when you know shit's already bad. So, do you really think that, like, having to plan a wedding, getting a bridezilla, is what your relationship needs right now? Also, last night you were, like, having apparently pretty decent sex. You were having a good time. You were kind of jokingly thinking about the B-flat stuff. Sounds to me like, all in all, things fine. Or at the least not so bad that you need to do desperate, goofy measures that never work. The afternoon was relatively pleasant. I feel at home. I mean, your parents still suck ass, so... So, did he give a speech or not? I was thinking, I want to be alone for a while. What does this mean? Like, surely by this point, Damien understands that Inko doesn't care about sitting in the cool shade on a late summer day. Also, it's warm, man. I don't get what he's trying to say. I guess because the sunset is happening. But, like, I think by this point, Damien understands that Inko can just exist outside. He shoveled the fucking driveway. He's already demonstrated his cold resistance capabilities in the game! I was thinking I wanted to be alone for a while. I hate this sentence so much. This is such a, like, I'm not actually going to write anything sentence. In that nothing was written here. I would like to point out that if you're really clever, you'll realize that we can already discern that Inko wanted to be alone and was thinking. And I get it that he has to communicate that to another character. But you know what you do in those situations? You just have people assume. You just have Damien walk in and say, hey, it looked like you're doing a lot of thinking there, buddy. Anything you want to talk about? That way, you address all of this and it doesn't sound like the lamest fucking sentences in the world that are, oh man, I'm gonna go for a subject, verb, noun, or whatever. Jesus Christ, man. Damien paused, setting down his soda, and looked at me. Oh, I can go. I feel like Damien is smart enough to know that that's not the case. Also, Damien seems like the kind of person who would inject himself in the conversation anyway. Like, this entire thing doesn't work. Anyway, he's probably going to... He was Olivia's brother. Like, who reads this and needs to be reminded that he's Olivia's brother? I'm reminded of, like, a shitty book where, for some reason, the writer was like, I'm gonna... Okay, this is the big reveal letter where everything gets recontextualized. By the way, husband, do you remember our 3 kids? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why would you write it like that? I feel like I feel like these people, right, they lack something very important. And I'm going to give you a cool, sexy word to take along with you. It's called theory of mind. It's the capacity to understand that other people have mental states of their own. And like, writing is 90%. I mean, probably not 90%, but a good part of it is like thinking about what would this other person do. And not like in the shitty D&D way. Also, I just want to mention it somewhere, but today, I'm in a few Discords, and one of them has like a political channel, and it's been like going hog wild, and I have no idea what they're talking about.